How's mood in the camp after last week's defeat?
Determined to correct a few things. I think the boys have trained in a way we'd expect after a hurtful result like that, and we'll train again today, and we have to play how we've trained this week. That's the biggest thing for me. I think it's been a tough week, from Sunday onwards for us mentally to digest what happened. So we've addressed it and come up with the solutions to make sure it doesn't happen again.
I know you spoke about perhaps not getting too high or too low when the results have been good. Has that been especially important this week after a pretty disappointing result as well?
Yeah, I think, look, we always deal with realism, and we understand the result is the main focus, and it is for us as well. But then we take in circumstances, and we also take in the bigger picture. So if we'd have won on Sunday, we wouldn't have all of a sudden thinking everything was perfect, and then and we don't have to work, because that's not the case. And vice versa, when you have a result like that, you have to understand what we have to do better and come up with the solutions to do better, and give ourselves a focus on what we have to do to make sure it doesn't happen again. But it wasn't. What we've addressed this week isn't just with Sunday. I feel that we haven't been good enough defensively anyway in other games. Our goals against, I can take the last 3 goals because we were down to 10 men, and I can understand the emotional side of it, and I could have done better and put 6 at the back and 3 in front of it and just sat in. But we, call me naive or stupid, but I still wanted to have an opportunity of getting something from the game, so I left us open. So I'll take that. But I felt from 1-0, even though we didn't mean to, we sat off them a lot. They only had 1 chance before they scored, 1 real chance in those 42 minutes. But from then on, we didn't do things well enough throughout the team. So we've tried to focus on that, and but we've also talked about our previous games where we've conceded goals which we wouldn't expect to, and we have to do better on that, because the other side of it is up there with a lot of other teams in our division, as in the goal scoring charts. How
do you go about rectifying that? Because I think in this one it has pretty much been a couple of goals conceded every game, and obviously in this league it's a fairly tight league, so probably can't afford to be doing that.
No, that's right. It is very tight. I think it's that side of it that's damaged our results in the last month. I think it's only the top 3 that have scored more goals than us this season. We're joint points with 5th, so there's still positives to take. But I think if you look at our goals against over a period of time, it's not good enough. We understand that, but it's not down to one section of the team. It's down to the whole team, and my team as well, of staff, to understand what we need to do better. And we've certainly tried to focus on that. It's not going to be an overnight fix. We obviously need to go up to Aberdeen and do better than we did last week. But this is going to be a continual sort of process of improving our overall defensive qualities from the front through to the back.
Does that come with the amount of new bodies in the defence as well this season? You have obviously got an array of new centre backs and a couple other different players in there.
Yeah, look, that's a factor, but it's not the reason. That's not the reason. We believe that we have good players throughout the squad. It's not a case of these 4 good defenders, these 4 are not. I think there's a real tight, hard competition between all those boys and the forwards and the midfield players. We saw things and we've analysed things and tried to fix things that no matter who you are, whether it's your first game or your 8th game, that we need to do better. So I'm not going to hide away behind the fact of we have lost players for injury and illness, certainly in the back, but it's not just at the back where we have to improve on our defensive side of it. It's the whole team. So from the front through to the goalkeeper, we have to defend better and put more pressure on the opponents and compete better all the way through the pitch, not allow just our defensive players in the final third to have that responsibility. It's the whole team, and when I say the whole team, I mean me and my coaching staff as well, because there's things that I haven't done well enough to prepare my team to defend better. So that work will be ongoing to make us better.
Yeah, does this fix involve maybe changing the system at all, formation, or is it just getting tightening up certain aspects of the structure that's already in place?
Yeah, we have the ability to change formation. We've done it in game when we've felt we had to either see a result out or get back into the game. So we've got that scope, and we have done it in the past. Not maybe this season, but we have done it last season when we changed formation. But the things we're looking at our individual and collective mentality and approach to it. It was nothing tactical last week. It really wasn't, and we had to compete better. We had to be closer to opponents. We had to put more pressure on them, and we had to be together as a team. And those are the things that we didn't see when we analysed it and looked at it. And it wasn't pretty to watch. So I can understand. I can understand the result, and I can understand the reaction to the result, because it wasn't good enough. So we take that responsibility strongly. My players do as well. I've spoke so many times about how hard they work and how conscientious they are about their jobs, but we know we let ourselves down last week. So that's the approach. We can't afford to come off a pitch feeling like that ever again. That's the reality of it.
How do you instigate that process when you're going over a heavy defeat? Do you ask for the players' input as well? That first of all, is it a case of they really need to understand how they could do things better by?
Well, we analysed it. I analysed it. My coaches did. On the Monday, we came in Tuesday. We still had. I wanted to make sure what we fed them back was correct, and how we wanted to go forward. It wasn't as much about what we've done wrong in the past. It's about what we have to do better going forward. So that's what we had to do. So we didn't want to get into a blame game. You should have done that. You should have done that. It's from now on, this is what we expect from this part of the team. This is what we expect from this position, and this is how we're going to go forward and work from now on. We couldn't affect last week's result. So I'm not into it was your fault, my fault, this fault. That does not work. It's not the way we work. We want to be better in the future. So it was all about taking away the grey areas for all our players. I did ask for their feedback on how they felt. They felt prepared going to that game. Did they know this stuff? And if they didn't know this stuff, then that's my responsibility, because it's my responsibility to make sure they do know that stuff. So that's where we went forward. It was all about our future games. We were going to win no points from any games that we've already played. So that's what we had to focus on. So for me, it was focusing the players' minds on our future, about building on what was a good start that has had a tough period in the last few weeks, but by no means is it the end of our season, and going to sort of influence or that's not our season. Is not last week, that one game. That's not our season. We've got the power and the ability to make sure the next 20 odd games is how we want it to be. So that's what we wanted to focus on.
If you look at the league so far, there's been a few teams who've had really good runs and really difficult runs. Aberdeen are the prime example, where 5 defeats in a row, and then they've had 3 really good results.
Yeah.
Is that because the league's so tight that a wee bit of momentum might kind of boost a team, and then it's maybe difficult for other teams to get out of a wee kind of spell of run as well?
Yeah, the game's played by human beings, and we all have feelings and emotions, and when you're feeling confident because you're winning games, you just do things naturally. I think when you're not winning games and you overthink things, you maybe go in your shell a little bit. I think that's what happened to us last week. I think we went in our shell a little bit. We took the lead. I thought we were doing well, but I thought the goal we conceded put us in our shell a little bit. So we have to understand that I played the game for 24 years, so I wasn't always tip top 100% confident in doing that. So it's about approaching that side of it, and that's without a doubt. It happens in all levels of football. All levels of football. We have to understand that. So that's the case in point. I think it is a really tough. It's my obviously first start and full season in Scottish football, but I've heard it from other coaches and managers speaking about the strength of the league, that have got more experience of this league than me, and they're saying how competitive it is with the type of clubs that are in there and the quality. So we understand what the challenge is, but certainly we've shown that we can challenge in the right areas, and that's where we want to be.
How's the squad looking for tomorrow?
We've got a couple of niggles, and training's been competitive this week, and we've got a couple to assess whether they're going to be fit enough to travel with us. So that'll happen this afternoon, but we still got more than enough good players to pick a team and a bench from, and obviously we lose Stephen O'Donnell through suspension, but apart from that, and maybe one or two, nothing major, but we just need to assess them today. But we should have a fully fit squad.
Johanny Ayala named in the Finland squad. Does that mean that his injury isn't too bad as well?
Yeah, we're going to assess him today. He's trained this week, but the training's been a little bit limited because we played on Sunday. So we're going to assess him again today before we decide what we're going to do. But the team is there, up for grabs. The positions are up for grabs for players, and but we know when we put 11 out there, there'll be 11 good players supported by another 7 on the bench, and maybe even a couple in the stand. That we've got a good squad, but we need to focus how we are a good team, and that's what we try to focus on this week.